The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets overhead as I slammed my locker shut, the echo bouncing off the cinderblock walls of Lincoln High's East Wing. That's when I saw him, Hunter freaking Caldwell, All-American golden boy, propped against the row of dented metal doors like he owned the damn place, his varsity jacket slung over one shoulder, exposing the curve of his bicep that strained against his gray Henley. His blue eyes locked onto mine, not with the mocking glint I'd grown used to over 4 years of sideways jabs and locker-room whispers, but with something raw, almost pleading, that made my stomach twist into knots. "Dylan," he said, voice low and gravelly, like he'd been up all night rehearsing it. "Wait. I need to talk to you." I froze, my backpack strap biting into my palm, heart hammering so loud I swore he could hear it over the distant roar of the football team hyping up in the gym. 3 years ago, he'd been the one leading the charge, laughing that booming, crowd-pleasing laugh when his buddies shoved me into the showers after PE, water soaking my clothes while they chanted "Fairy," like it was a goddamn cheer. Now here he was, blocking my path to homeroom, smelling faintly of cedar cologne and fresh-cut grass from morning practice, and I couldn't decide if I wanted to punch him or bolt. It started sophomore year, that first real scar. I'd been doodling in my sketchbook during study hall. Nothing fancy, just a charcoal rendering of the Chicago skyline I'd seen on a rare family trip downtown, when Tommy Reyes snatched it from my desk and passed it around like contraband. "Look at this shit," Tommy snorted, flipping to a page where I'd absent-mindedly sketched a guy's profile, all sharp jaw and shadowed eyes. The class erupted, but it was Hunter's laugh that cut deepest, deep, rolling, the kind that made girls swoon and teachers smirk indulgently. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed over that broad chest already hinting at the powerhouse he'd become on the field, and drawled, "What? You practicing for your boyfriend's yearbook photo?" "Hayes." The room went silent except for the snickers, and I felt heat flood my face, my fingers curling into fists under the desk. I wasn't out then, not to anyone but my mom, who'd hugged me tight in our cramped kitchen on the south side, her calloused hands from double shifts at the diner smoothing my hair as she whispered, "Baby, you're perfect." Screw him. But Hunter's words? They lodged like shrapnel. For weeks after, I'd avoid the Jock table in the cafeteria, ducking into the art room to lose myself in paints and clay, building worlds where guys like him didn't exist. Fast forward to senior year, and the universe decided to flip the script. It was mid-September, the air still thick with that Midwestern humidity that clings like regret, when I first noticed him lingering. I'd round the corner from Mr. Patel's AP Lit class, nose buried in a dog-eared copy of The Great Gatsby. Gatsby's doomed longing hitting a little too close to home, and there he'd be. Not staring, exactly, but present. Leaning on the opposite wall, fiddling with his phone or tying his sneaker laces that didn't need tying, those piercing blues flicking up just long enough to snag mine before darting away. First, I chalked it up to coincidence. Lincoln High was a pressure cooker. 3,000 kids crammed into a brick behemoth built in the 70s, all peeling paint and echoing halls that smelled like bleach and teenage desperation. Hunter was king. Quarterback phenom with college scouts circling like vultures, homecoming royalty, the guy who could flash a grin and get away with anything. Me? I was the quiet artist kid, the one with paint under his nails and a scholarship essay to RISD half-written in my battered journal. Our orbits didn't cross. Except now they did, every goddamn morning. By week 3, the coincidences piled up. He'd nod, barely perceptible, like he was testing the waters, and I'd nod back, throat dry, pulse racing as I spun my combination lock with shaking fingers. Once, he'd even muttered, "Nice shirt," eyeing the vintage Bowie tee I'd thrifted from Wicker Park, and I nearly dropped my keys. Bowie. David fucking Bowie. The irony burned. Hunter, with his Metallica posters and Ford truck blasting classic rock, clocking my queer icon uniform. But I couldn't stop staring. God help me, couldn't. It was those mornings, bleary-eyed from late nights sketching or scrolling Tumblr for prompts, that made my chest ache with possibility. Two boys tangled in sheets under neon signs, hands exploring like forbidden maps. I'd catch glimpses. The way his Adam's apple bobbed when he swallowed, the faint scar above his left eyebrow from a sophomore year brawl, the effortless grace in his loping stride that screamed raw athletic power. He was everything I'd sketched in secret, broad shoulders tapering to a narrow waist, thighs like coiled springs under faded jeans, and the betrayal of my own body, the heat pooling low in my gut, made me hate him all over again. Mom noticed, of course. Over lukewarm spaghetti in our tiny dining nook, posters of Frida Kahlo peeling from the walls, she'd arch a brow over her wineglass, cheap red from the corner bodega, and say, "You got that look again, Mijo." Like you're carrying the weight of the world in those pretty eyes. I'd shrug, poke at my plate, but she'd lean in, her voice soft with that South Side steel. "Whoever it is, Dylan, don't let 'em break you before you even start. You deserve the stars, not scraps." She was right. But as October crept in, leaves turning the quad into a firestorm of red and gold, Hunter's waits turned deliberate. No more feigned distractions. He'd be right there, arms crossed, that half-smile tugging at his lips like a secret he couldn't quite keep. And on the Friday before homecoming, as rain lashed the windows and the halls emptied for the pep rally, he pushed off the wall and stepped into my space, close enough that I could smell the rain on his skin, feel the heat radiating off him like a furnace. "Dylan," he repeated, voice dropping an octave. "Can we talk? For real this time?" My breath hitched. The bell rang, shrill and demanding, but the world narrowed to the 6 inches between us, the faint stubble shadowing his jaw, the way his chest rose and fell a little too fast. Part of me wanted to laugh, throw his old cruelty back in his face. "Now you want to talk? After you made me a punchline?" But another part, the one that had spent nights imagining what his hands might feel like, calloused from gripping a football, gentle on canvas, whispered yes. I swallowed hard, backpack heavy on my shoulder. "About what, Caldwell? Your sudden interest in interior design? These lockers clash with your ego." His laugh was soft, surprised, not the booming mockery of before, but something genuine, crinkling the corners of his eyes. "Fair. But it's not that. Shit. It's you. Has been for a while." The hallway spun. Rain drummed harder, a staccato heartbeat mirroring mine. And just like that, the hook sank deep. I was reeled in, line taut, no clue if I'd surface gasping or drown in the depths. We ended up in the art room, because where else do you drag a confession like that? The door clicked shut behind us, sealing out the chaos of the rally cheers filtering down the hall. "Go Lions! Crush 'em!" And I flipped the lock, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the cavernous space. Canvases leaned against walls like forgotten soldiers, the air thick with the ghosts of turpentine and clay dust. Easels scattered like we'd just fled a battlefield. Hunter paced the tile floor, those long legs eating up space, while I perched on a stool by my latest piece, a massive abstract of fractured blues and golds, inspired by a stormy Lake Michigan sunset I'd chased on my bike last summer. He stopped by the window, rain streaking the glass in silvery veins, and raked a hand through his damp hair. "I know what you're thinking," he started, not turning. "That this is some prank. Or pity. Or worse. Me trying to mess with you again." I crossed my arms, the chill seeping through my thin shirt raising goosebumps. The thought crossed my mind. "You laughed, Hunter. You led the laughs. Remember the showers? The sketchbook? I do. Every single night." He winced, shoulders hunching like I'd landed a physical blow. Finally, he faced me, backlit by the gray afternoon light, his silhouette all sharp angles and shadowed regret. "I remember. Christ, Dylan, I replay it like a bad highlight reel. I was a dumbass kid scared shitless of everything. My dad breathing down my neck about man shit, the team riding me to be the alpha, scouts watching every move. Lashing out felt easier than admitting I couldn't stop watching you." The words hung there, heavy as wet clay. Watching me, my mind reeled, flashing to stolen glances in the locker room. Me changing quick as a thief, towel clutched like armor, his eyes lingering a beat too long over my shoulder blades or the dip of my collarbone. I chalked it up to paranoia, but now. "You mean, like, watching?" I asked, voice cracking despite my best efforts. Sarcasm was my shield, but it was denting fast. Hunter stepped closer, close enough that I had to tilt my head to meet his gaze. Close. He was even more disarming. Freckles dusted across his nose like stars, lips full and bitten raw. "Yeah. Like that. Sophomore year. After that stupid sketchbook thing. Couldn't shake it. You, storming out with your chin up, not crying even though I saw the hurt in your eyes. It gutted me. Made me question everything. Why your fire lit me up when no cheerleader's smile ever did." He paused, fists clenching at his sides. "Summer after junior year, I hooked up with this guy at football camp in Wisconsin. Older dude, trainer's assistant. It was quick, fumbling in the equipment shed, beer on his breath, my heart pounding like I'd die right there. But it clicked something loose. I wasn't broken, I was just me. And all I could think after was how I wished it was you. Your hands, your laugh, the one you save for when you're lost in a drawing." Heat flooded my cheeks, a traitorous bloom I couldn't hide. I stood, stool scraping, putting us toe to toe. "You don't get to drop that bomb and expect a hallmark moment, Hunter. You hurt me, made me feel like trash. And now what? You wait at my locker like some rom-com stalker, and I'm supposed to melt." "No," he said fiercely, reaching out hesitant, fingers brushing my wrist like testing flame. Electricity shot up my arm, warm and insistent. "I'm asking for a shot to make it right. Coffee after school. Or a walk by the tracks. Hell, let me model for one of your sketches. Just don't write me off yet." I pulled back, but not far. The rain softened to a patter, and in the quiet, I heard it, the vulnerability cracking his voice, the echo of my own fears. Betrayal lingered, sharp as broken glass, but so did curiosity, a spark I'd long buried under layers of resentment. "One coffee," I relented, voice barely above a whisper. "But if you laugh, Caldwell, I'll key that precious truck of yours." His grin broke wide, boyish and blinding. "Deal. Pick you up at 3. We slipped out separately. Him to the field house, me to the rally's roar. But as I sank into the bleachers' hard plastic, bass thumping from the DJ's trapper mix of Eye of the tiger. I couldn't focus on the cheerleaders' flips or the team's synchronized stomps. My skin tingled where he'd touched. A phantom brand. And I sketched him in my mind. Not the jock facade, but the boy beneath. Eyes stormy with unspoken storms. That coffee turned into walks. Then late-night texts, you up? Can't sleep after that Hail Mary. I'd fire back with memes or doodles, simple lines capturing his smirk. And he'd reply with fire emojis and damn. That's me? Hot. It was tentative, like tiptoeing across a frozen lake, cracks spiderwebbing underfoot. We'd meet at the rusted freight tracks snaking through the industrial edge of town, where weeds choked the gravel and freight cars loomed like sleeping beasts. There, away from prying eyes, he'd really talk. About his dad, ex-Marine turned auto mechanic, who blasted Fox News and grumbled about kids these days over cores at dinner. About the pressure of a full ride to Michigan State dangling like a noose, scouts whispering he'd wash out if he distracted himself. And me? I let slip pieces too, the ache of dad bailing when I was 8, mom's endless shifts leaving me to microwave dinners and solitude. How art was my anchor, colors bleeding where words failed. Hunter listened, really listened, his hand brushing mine as we sat on a graffiti-tagged railcar, the distant wail of a siren underscoring our confessions. By homecoming week, the flirtation ignited. We'd sneak kisses in the art supply closet, quick, breathless presses of lips tasting like spearmint gum and adrenaline. His hands framing my face, thumbs tracing my jaw like I was porcelain. You're killing me, Hayes. He'd murmur against my neck, breath hot, body pressing me back against shelves of acrylics that rattled softly. I'd arch into him, fingers threading his hair, the world dissolving to the thud of his heart against mine. But paradise has teeth. Friday night, under the stadium lights, neon blaze against the crisp October chill, the Lions crushed Riverton 42-7, Hunter slinging passes like thunderbolts, crowd chanting his name. I watched from the nosebleeds, hood up, heart swelling with pride I didn't want to name. Post-game, he texted, booth at Dino's? Burgers on me. Dino's Diner was a relic, checkered floors, jukebox crooning Springsteen, the scent of fries and nostalgia thick as fog. We slid into a corner booth, knees knocking under the formica top, his flush from victory making him glow. Midway through my patty melt, Tommy Reyes sauntered in with the crew, beers already buzzing, jerseys sweat-stained. They spotted us, froze, then piled over, slapping Hunter's back. Cap, epic game, man. Who's the stray? Tommy jerked his chin at me, grin slimy. Hunter stiffened, hand pausing on his coke. Dylan's a friend. Artist. Killed it on the murals for the dance. The table went quiet, then erupted in backslaps and cool. Man, but I caught it. The flicker in Tommy's eyes, the way he lingered on our proximity. Hunter laughed it off, loud and performative, but his knee pressed mine under the table. A silent I'm sorry. Later, driving me home in his rumbling F-150, dashboard lit blue by his phone's glow, he gripped the wheel white-knuckled. That was stupid. They're idiots. But I hate hiding. I stared out at the sodium-lit streets, sodium lamps casting halos on chain-link fences. Then don't. But it's your call, quarterback. I'm not your dirty secret. He pulled over by the canal, engine idling, and yanked me into a kiss fierce, claiming, teeth nipping my lip until I gasped. You're not, he growled. You're everything. In that moment, tangled in the front seat, his hands mapping my ribs. I believed him. But dawn brings clarity, and with it, the first fracture. Monday morning, he waited, grinning, coffee in hand, but the whispers had started. A note in my locker. Fairy's got a Jock boyfriend? Gross. I crumpled it, but the seed of doubt took root. November swept in like a linebacker, cold fronts slamming the city with winds off the lake that howled through the L tracks and turned the quad into a wind tunnel of swirling leaves. Hunter and I were a secret symphony. Stolen moments in the bed of his truck parked behind the abandoned steel mill, where we'd wrap in wool blankets and share thermoses of Mom's strong coffee. His head in my lap as I sketched the rusting silos against bruised skies. "This one's you," I'd say, shading the jagged edges, and he'd chuckle, fingers tracing lazy circles on my thigh. Broken but beautiful? Fitting. Those afternoons blurred into something deeper, confessions spilling like rain. He'd talk about the closet's chokehold, his first crush on a teammate freshman year, buried under weights and winds, the terror of his evangelical aunt's visits, Bible verses weaponized over Thanksgiving turkey. I'd counter with my own ghosts, the sting of rejection from my best friend in middle school, who ghosted after I came out, the quiet pride in Mom's eyes when I hung my first gallery piece at the neighborhood art fair, a portrait of her laughing amid diner steam. Sex came slow, tentative, a fumbling exploration in my bedroom one snow-dusted Saturday, Mom pulling a double at the diner. Posters of Basquiat and Herring watched over us as Hunter peeled off my shirt with reverent hands, lips following the trail down my chest, breath hitching at the sight of me bare. "God, Dylan," he whispered, voice wrecked. "Your art." I arched under him, guiding his touch, hesitant at first, then bold, our bodies slotting like puzzle pieces forged in fire. It was messy, profound, his weight grounding me, gasps mingling with laughter when elbows knocked lamps, the slide of skin electric and affirming. Afterward, curled against his chest, his heartbeat a steady drum under my palm, I felt seen not as the fairy, but as Dylan, whole and wanted. But secrets fester. The team noticed Hunter's distractions. Missed blocks in practice, eyes glazing during film sessions. Tommy cornered him in the weight room, barbell clanging like judgment. "What's with you, Cap? That artsy kid got you soft." Hunter shoved him off, barking, "Mind your business." But the poison spread. Whispers in the halls. Caldwell's gone queer. Nah, just a phase. I dodged stares in the cafeteria, my tray a shield. But Hunter, he doubled down. Louder laughs with the guys, arm around a cheerleader at pep rallies. His texts to me laced with apologies. "Hate this charade." Soon. The betrayal hit like a blindside sack. 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. I'd been in the library, nose deep in Giovanni's room, Baldwin's words carving open old wounds, when my phone buzzed. Not Hunter's usual hard eyes emoji, but a screenshot from Tommy's Snapchat story. Hunter at a house party in Bridgeport, red Solo cup in hand, lips locked with Becca Lawson, the head cheerleader, all blonde waves and homecoming court poise, on a sagging couch amid strobe lights and thumping bass. Caption: Cap claims his queen. Lion's pride, no distractions. My vision tunneled, the book slipping to the floor with a thud that drew glares from study carols. Betrayal burned hot, then cold, numbness settling as I scrolled comments. Fire emojis, wolf whistles, a few about time from the brothers. I wanted to scream, to shatter the stained glass window overlooking the quad, but instead I texted, "Enjoy your queen. We're done." Then blocked him, the whoosh final as a slammed door. He bombarded my locker next morning, banging the metal until Mr. Patel shooed him off. But I ghosted. Chin high. Art room my fortress. Sketches turned savage. Hunter's face splintered in charcoal. Eyes hollowed to voids. Mom found me there one night, charcoal smudged and hollow-eyed over ramen. Boy trouble? She asked, sliding onto the stool, her uniform still crisp from the late shift. Worse, I muttered. Heart trouble. She cupped my cheek, thumb wiping a streak. Hearts mend. Mijo. But trust? That's the real scar. You gonna let him define you? No, I lied. But her words lodged deep. By Friday, the hurt calcified into resolve. I threw myself into portfolio prep, colors bleeding vibrant on canvas, reclaiming the space he'd invaded. Hunter wouldn't quit. Notes slipped into my sketchbook during lit. It was fake. She cornered me, team pressure. Please, talk. I burned them in the art room sink. The flames dance mocking my turmoil. Climax brewed at the winter formal. Gym transformed into a tacky winter wonderland. Fake snow drifting from AC vents. Disco ball fracturing light like broken promises. I'd gone solo. Black jeans and a velvet blazer thrifted from Logan Square. Mom's pearl clip in my hair a talisman. He found me by the punch bowl. Tux rumpled. Bowtie askew. Eyes bloodshot like he'd cried in his truck. The DJ spun Ariana. Thank you. Next, irony thick as fog. Dylan, he pleaded. Voice raw over the bass. That kiss? It was nothing. Cover. Tommy's been riding me hard. Says Scouts'll bail if word gets out. But I can't breathe without you. Crowd milled around us. Oblivious couple swaying. Laughter bubbling, but his desperation cracked the air. I set down my cup, voice steady despite the quake in my chest. You chose them. Again. Laughed it off like sophomore year. I'm not your experiment. Hunter. His face crumpled, hand shooting out to grip my sleeve. You're not. You're my everything. I love. He choked. The word a grenade. Love. Detonated. Shards embedding deep. But anger surged hotter. Love? You don't get to say that after parading her like a trophy. You betrayed us, me. For what? A pat on the back from the brothers. Tears welled in his eyes, spilling unchecked. I'm scared. Okay. Dad found my phone, saw the texts. Went nuclear. No fag son of mine. Panicked. But losing you? That's the real terror. The gym spun, lights pulsing, bass thrumming like a migraine. A circle formed, whispers rippling. What's Caldwell doing? Tommy hovered at the edge, smirk fading to confusion. I yanked free, voice breaking. Then choose. For real this time. Or walk. He froze, the weight crushing. Then, head high, he grabbed the mic from the DJ booth, static screeching feedback. Hey, Lincoln, listen up. The music cut, spotlights swinging wild. I'm Hunter Caldwell. And I'm gay. Have been forever. Dylan's the bravest guy I know, showed me that. So yeah, deal with it. Gasps rippled. Phones flashing. Tommy's jaw dropped. Becca fled in tears. Hunter dropped the mic, clattering feedback, and faced me defiant, terrified, alive. Your move. Hayes. Heart thundering. I closed the gap, fisting his shirt, pulling him into a kiss fierce, unapologetic, tasting salt and freedom. The gym erupted, cheers, booze, chaos. But in that press of lips, Worlds collided, pain forging something unbreakable. We fled to the parking lot, snow flurrying soft, his truck a sanctuary. You did that, I whispered, forehead to his. For me. For us, he corrected, hands framing my face. No more hiding, but dawn brings wolves. By Monday, the fallout hit, Dad disowning him over breakfast, screams echoing down the block, Scouts ghosting emails, Tommy's texts, fucking traitor. Hunter showed up anyway, bruised-eyed, jacket zipped tight but unbowed. Worth it, he'd say, squeezing my hand in the hall, ignoring stares. Yet cracks lingered. Holiday break loomed, families fracturing. Mine? Mom baked pies, humming Motown, pulling me into hugs that smelled of vanilla and victory. His silence, save for a duffel in his truck, clothes, sketchpads I'd snuck him. If it gets bad, I said, crash here. Mom loves strays. Christmas Eve, he did snow blanketing the city in hush, our streetlights haloed. We decorated a Charlie Brown tree in the living room, tinsel tangling like our limbs later, bodies entwined on the couch under Afghans, slow and worshipful. Merry Christmas, artist, he murmured, tracing my spine. Merry everything, I replied, peace settling like fresh powder. January thawed the ice but not the chill, whispers in halls turning to outright hostility. Graffiti scrawled on Hunter's truck. FAG in dripping red, heat so deep it scarred the blue paint. The team fractured, half rallied, slapping his back in the weight room with gruff "we got you." Cap, the rest, led by Tommy, boycotted practices, muttering about locker room cancer. Coach Harlan called Hunter in, door shut tight, emerging with a suspension, focus on academics. Son, code for clean up your mess. Scouts vanished entirely, Michigan State's offer evaporating like breath on glass. Hunter armored up, jokes in the halls, harder hits on the field when they let him back. But I saw the toll. Shadows under his eyes, texts at 3 a.m., can't sleep. Dad changed the locks. He'd crash at my place more. Mom turning the couch into a nest with extra pillows, slipping him plates of tamales at midnight. That boy's got fire, she'd say, washing dishes while we studied at the table, him wrestling trig, me shading a portrait of us by the Christmas tree, his head on my shoulder, peaceful in repose. Our love deepened in the margins. Lazy Sundays biking the lakefront, wind whipping scarves as we raced to the Adler Planetarium, hands linked under gloves. Inside, under the domed sky show of swirling galaxies, he'd pull me close amid the hush, whispering, "That's us, two stars crashing, making something brighter." Kisses in the shadow of the bean downtown, its mirrored curve reflecting our tangled forms back infinite. Stolen hours in the Art Institute, lingering before Hopper's Nighthawks, his arm around my waist, thumb stroking my hip. Like us, he'd say. Alone together, but betrayal's echo lingered, not just his, but the world's. Valentine's Day, I planned the perfect night. Picnic in the conservatory at Garfield Park, blankets spread under orchids blooming riotous, chocolate-dipped strawberries from Mom's secret recipe. Hunter arrived late, flowers wilted in his fist, roses, defiant red, face ashen. "Dylan," he started, voice fracturing. "Tommy." He outed me to the whole damn school. Posted old pics me at camp, with that trainer. Twisted it into proof. Dad saw. Kicked me out for good. Rage boiled. Hot and immediate. That son of a... I cut off. pulling him into the humid green, ferns brushing our cheeks like sympathetic fingers. He collapsed against me, sobs racking that powerhouse frame, and I held him, fierce, unyielding as petals drifted like confetti. "You're safe," I murmured, rocking us. "Here. Always." We made love that night in the truck, parked by the lagoon, slow, reclaiming, his body arching under mine like a bowstring released. Afterward, stars pricking the velvet sky, he traced my tattoos, a small rainbow script on my rib, resist in Mom's looping hand, and whispered, "You're my home." Spring training brought the storm's eye. Hunter fought back, transferring credits online, training solo at dawn runs along the lake, his body honing sharper, fueled by fury. I captured it in oils, him mid-stride, muscles coiling like springs, face set in grim determination, the Chicago skyline a jagged backdrop. Gallery night at school, my pieces hung proud, judges murmuring approval, Mom beaming in her best dress, and Hunter there, clean-shaven in a button-down that hugged his frame, clapping loudest when I won best in show. Pride swelled, but so did fear. Dad's absence gnawed. He'd moved to a buddy's garage apartment, radio silence broken only by a curt "sort your shit" text. Hunter internalized it, smiles brittle. "What if I'm poison?" he'd ask. Nights tangled in sheets, my leg hooked over his. "Ruining everything. You're saving me," I'd counter, kissing the doubt from his lips. Us against the noise. Climax crested in April, under a full moon bloated and merciless. The Lions' playoff qualifier against Lincoln's rivals. Washington High Stadium packed, air electric with rivalry's bite. Hunter started, jersey 12 gleaming, but Tommy's crew heckled from the sidelines. Slurs hissed over the roar. Ferry QB, signs waving like flags of hate. He played possessed, dodging sacks, threading needles through defenses, but midway third quarter, a cheap shot, Tommy's elbow to his ribs, unpenalized, dropping him gasping in the mud. I surged from the stands, vaulting the barrier. Mom's cry lost in the tumult, dropping to my knees beside him as medics swarmed. "Breathe, baby," I urged, hand on his helmet, ignoring the ref's shouts. His eyes met mine through the face mask, pain-laced, but fierce. "For you," he wheezed, before they carted him off. Halftime blurred. Riots in the bleachers. Tommy ejected in a scrum of fists and curses. Coach benched the traitors, rallying the loyal with a "we don't play that here" speech that echoed like thunder. Second half, backup QB faltered, but the defense, Hunter's forged brotherhood, held like iron, clinching a 24-21 win on a fumble recovery. The field erupted, but I bolted to the ER at rush, Mom tailing in her Civic. Bruised ribs, cracked clavicle, no breaks. Thank God. But the doc's words chilled. Rest 6 weeks. Season's done. Hunter, pale in the sterile light, gripped my hand. "Lost the game anyway. You won the war," I said, kissing his knuckles. Coming out. Standing tall. Outside. Rain lashed the lot. Streetlights haloed in mist. Tommy waited solo. Hood up. Face streaked. "Cap," he started. Voice small. Shit. I was wrong. Scared. Like you. Dad's the same, hates it. But that hit? Too far. Hunter eyed him, rain dripping from brows. "You outed me. Betrayed the team." Tommy nodded, swallowing hard. "Yeah. Oh, you. Both of you." He extended a hand, tentative, olive branch. Hunter clasped it, brief but firm. Fix it. Apologize. Public. Tommy did at assembly next week. Mic in hand. Voice cracking. I was a coward. Hunter's the real man. Dylan's got more balls than all of us. Whispers hushed. Claps swelled. Fractures mended. Tentative as spring thaw. Graduation loomed. Cap and gown sea on the horizon. Hunter scouts circled back. Penn State. Queer inclusive. Offering a walk-on. My RSD acceptance glowed in my inbox. Providence calling like a siren's song. Long distance? He asked. One night on the fire escape. City humming below. L trains rattling. Horns blaring. Airplanes exist. I teased, nipping his ear. And visits. Weekends in dorms. Sneaking you in. He pulled me closer. City lights painting us gold. Promise. Swear. But June brought the gut punch. Dad's stroke. Massive. Sudden. Landing him in ICU at Northwestern. Hunter drove us through snarl of rush hour. Hand steady on my knee. In the beep of monitors and antiseptic sting. Dad tubes snaking. I sunken wheezed. Heard. About you. The boy. His gaze flicked to Hunter. Hovering awkward in scrubs. Yeah. I said. Throat tight. Hunter. A nod. Feeble. Treat him right. Or I'll haunt ya. Humor. Faint as his pulse. Hunter squeezed my shoulder. And in that fragile peace. Forgiveness bloomed, tentative. Human. Summer stretched lazy. Jobs at the diner for me. Coaching Pee Wee League for him. Nights on the porch swing. Mom's lemonade tart on our tongues. Betrayal scars faded to silver. Conflicts forged to strength. We're survivors, Hunter said one dusk. Fireflies winking like approvals. Yeah, I agreed. Head on his chest. And just beginning. July's heat wave baked the city. Asphalt shimmering. Fire hydrants cracked open by kids in saga shorts. Spraying arcs that caught the sun like diamonds. Hunter and I mapped our escape. Providence for me. State College for him. A dotted line of Amtraks and Greyhounds stitching us across the map. We celebrated with a road trip. His truck loaded with coolers of pop and subs. Blasting the killer's mister. Brightside on loop. Windows down as we chased the lake's curve north to Door County. Wisconsin. Cherry orchards blushing red. Dunes rolling like waves frozen mid-crash. There, in a rented cabin smelling of pine and lake air, we shed the city's weight. Mornings. Coffee on the porch. His legs tangled with mine. Sketching the mist-shrouded bay while he read scouting reports aloud. Voice laced with hope. Afternoons. Hikes through birch groves. Hands linked. Pausing to kiss against trunks rough as his stubble slow. Sun warmed. The world a green blur. Nights. Bonfires crackling. Stars sprawling overhead. His body covering mine on a blanket spread over sand. Waves lapping a rhythm to our gasps. I love you, he'd say. Unprompted. First time post-chaos. Eyes reflecting flames. Like. Stupid. All in love. I traced the freckles across his chest. Heart full. Ditto. Quarterback. You're my plot twist. Back in Chicago. Reality nipped. Mom's promotion to shift lead. Tears in her eyes over corned beef hash. Dad's rehab. Gruff progress marked by stolen beers and good kid. That Hunter. Tommy even showed. Awkward burgers at Portillo's. Apology evolving to alliance. Coaching with me next summer? Teach 'em real team. August blurred frantic. Packing boxes in my room. Hunter's duffel zipping shut with finality. Last night, rooftop of his buddy's garage. City panorama sprawling. Sears Tower a distant spike, we lay on a quilt. Beers sweating beside us. Scared? He asked, fingers interlacing mine. Terrified, I admitted. What if distance dulls us? Fades to postcards. He rolled atop me, weight reassuring. Then we fight. Calls at dawn. Visits like addicts. You're my North Star, Dylan. Always. Dawn broke humid. Airport run a tear-streaked blur. Mom hugging him fierce. Keep my boy safe. Dad's nod from the porch. Cane steady. At O'Hare. Security line looming. We clung. Kiss salt slick. Promises whispered. Fall break, he said. Hotel in Boston. No holds barred. Deal. Gate swallowed me. But his text pinged mid-flight. Already missing your chaos. Love you, artist. College hit like a fever dream. Riz Studios alive with welder sparks and paint splatters. Professors with tattoos and accents pushing me to bleed on canvas. Hunter's texts anchored. Sacked the dean today. Miss your tackle. Videos of drills. His grin mud-smeared. Mine of critiques. His holy shit. That's genius replies. Fall break arrived. Boston crisp with turning leaves. Reds and golds mirroring my nerves. He flew in. Backpack slung. Jeans hugging those thighs. And tackled me in arrivals. Spin lift. Laughter bubbling. Our hotel room overlooked the harbor. Sheets twisting as we rediscovered. Slower now. Seasoned. His hands knowing every curve. My lips mapping scars from that playoff hit. We made it, he murmured post-glow. Fingers in my hair. Barely, I laughed, but truth hummed beneath. Winter brought storms. His team's playoff run clashing my finals crunch. Calls cutting short by exhaustion. Dad's remission party. Hunter drove down. Charming mom with grill flips. Even coaxing dad into a wary arm wrestle. Proud of you, son, dad grunted after. To me, first time. Beer in hand. Spring thaw. Penn State's championship bid. Me flying for the game. Stadium roar deafening. His touchdown pass arcing perfect under floodlights. Post-win. Field emptying. He found me in the stands. Helmet off. Sweat sheened. For you. Kiss amid confetti. Cameras flashing. Front page gridiron love in the campus rag. Summer reunion. Chicago sweltering. Us crashing at home. Bike rides to the beach. Bodies bronzing side by side. Mom's wedding, her to Rosa from the diner. Garden ceremony under string lights. Hunter best man in a suit that wrecked me. Toast teary. Family's what you build. Like us. Fall senior year. Proposals brewing, not rings, but futures. Over Thanksgiving turkey. Grease slicked. He blurted. After graduation, Philly? Joint loft. Me coaching. You gallery hunting. Heart stuttered. Yeah. Grin wolfish. Marry me? Someday. Someday. I echoed. Sealing with gravy-smeared kiss. Years folded. His MLS scout gig in D.C. My exhibits in Soho Plains bridging. Roots entwining. Betrayal's ghost? Faded to anecdote. Tommy's wedding toast. To the guys who schooled me. On our 5th anniversary. Philly row house. Balcony overlooking Schuylkill. Hunter knelt. Ring glinting. Simple band. Engraved plot twist. Marry me. For real. Tears pricked. Thought you'd never ask. Vows under autumn oaks. Mom dabbing eyes, Dad clapping Hunter's back. Honeymoon in Door County, full circle, cabin creaking under us, lake whispering approvals. Life's not fairy tale. Arguments over takeout, job stresses bleeding into silences. But in the quiet, his hand in mine during chemo scares for Dad, my sketches of our dog-eared life, we find grace. Human, flawed, enduring. Hunter still waits some mornings, coffee in hand, grin crooked. And I still stare, hooked eternal. In the end, love isn't the absence of storms. It's dancing in the rain, unbroken,